Huggy Wuggy is no doubt one of the most important characters in Poppy Playtime. He is the mascot, the most recognisable face of the game. And the recent Chapter 5 doesn't just bring him back for the sake of it, they go above and beyond to flesh him out into something truly tragic. But to understand this, we have to go back to 2021, when we were first introduced to this terrifying monster. Huggy began as a silent predator. He pretended to be a toy all the while watching and playing with us as he slipped down corridors, stalking, and choosing the exact moment to reveal himself. Chapter 1 Huggy is cold and calculating, a simple monster who wants us dead. We don't know why he does, and not knowing makes him scarier. It's a very streamlined horror experience, limited but effective. There's not a single humanizing moment for this monster. His playfulness is sinister. The fluid transition between pretending to be a toy and hunting us down works so well because Huggy is so inhuman. Chapter 1 Huggy is unfazed and unemotional. Aside from opening his mouth, he doesn't really feel angry. His murderous intent is scary because it doesn't come with a character. And that works super well as this was the first toy we meet which comes to life. Too much character would have overshadowed the horror. This all changes in Chapter 5. Before the screen has even loaded, we hear the muffled sound of Huggy shrieking. For a creature that was partly characterised by his silence in Chapter 1, this is a big change. Huggy shrieks, whimpers, and makes other animalistic sounds that show his agitation and rage. Gone is the silent predator, and in place we have this wounded creature which is capable of great violence, but is also suffering. As Huggy smashes glass and causes destruction, all of it paints him in a very different light. In Chapter 1, Huggy was more menacing. There's no way I think they could have recreated the horror of Chapter 1's chase, because it was absolutely perfect. But what we lose in horror, we gain in character depth. There's this really nice touch to the chase where, as you fall from a vent, Huggy jumps back in surprise. It's a little moment that characterises him as both vulnerable and dangerous. When you compare that to Chapter 1, that version of Huggy is barely a character. He's much faster, moving through the vents like something mechanical, and the chase scene itself is very short, over in about a minute or so. Chapter 5 is the Huggy hates you and will not stop chasing chapter. His encounters are drawn out, and as a result, he becomes almost too familiar with us. And to be fair, I'm not saying Huggy is completely unscary in Chapter 5. I actually think fleshing him out and giving him this more animal-like rage can be very scary. One of my favourite moments is when I reach the blue hand door here, and I briefly turn to see him approaching in the dark. Huggy moves slower due to injury, but he's still this massive creature obsessed with killing us, and that keeps him unsettling. One of the biggest shifts for him occurs midway through the game, when we relive Huggy's memories. He awakens in a child-themed room, seeming confused about where he is. He looks down to discover not hands, but mittens. He trembles, realising something awful has happened. It's another moment of vulnerability, something that only continues through each memory, as we see how Huggy is forced to play disturbing games, whether that's placing blocks or throwing toys into grinders. I don't know if you noticed, but throughout these scenes, Huggy can be heard making these high sounds, which I think are whimpers.
Everyone, isn't this so fun?
It's pretty subtle, so I don't see many people react to it. He does this in both the scenes and later when he reunites with Kissy. It's a sound of uncertainty or distress. These small details change his character forever. In Chapter 1, Huggy barely made a sound. He only shrieks in a jump scare or when he falls. With sound comes emotion that wasn't given to him before. Even his redesign is aimed at making him more cute. His lips are smaller and he's even fluffier. Now when Huggy roars, it doesn't seem like his mouth is swallowing the entire frame. Also interesting is that Huggy has lost those weird string parts in his mouth. I'm not sure if they were meant to be toy strings or saliva, but either way, removing them makes him seem less of a toy. His mouth has more range of movement. Obviously, both his looks and animation change as Mob Games improves textures in each chapter, but it all has the effect of softening him. Both Huggy and Kissy do not feel like toys at this point. They feel like sentient beings that simply look like toys. Even the tape which shows how Huggy grew teeth really makes it feel like we're looking at something that was always alive, not made of synthetic fur or rubber. The old model looked more like a doll, with his frozen expressions devoid of any life. The more we move away from toy to living creature, the more humanized they become. Apart from Miss Gracie, she has no soul.
Pop their heads off!
Chapter 5 also showed that Huggy was never working with the prototype. This is confirmed through a piece of dialogue between the prototype and Chum.
My hunters
Shall pursue
1170.
I do think that the devs included this because so many people thought Huggy was working with him. This redefines Huggy's place in the story, showing that he is more of this uncontrolled force, and that his actions are not planned in a villainous way, more just a fit of rage. Huggy sees a threat and he has to get rid of it. It's not personal to us, the player, it's from his trauma. I do think it's funny to imagine how he patched himself up, though. Like, how did he get that little bow around his arm? He doesn't have fingers, mob games. But it's kind of cute, so I'll let it slide. And there's no way this video could go without addressing Huggy's reunion with Kissy, the most important scene for his character. After he finally catches us, Kissy is the presence which stops him. Only this time, she's not a projection on a screen, but real. As soon as he sees her, he completely loses interest in killing the player. His attention fully shifts to her, and that directly contrasts with Chapter 1, where he only seems interested in killing us. For the first time, we see Huggy about to emotionally connect with another. This is his character arc, it seems. Huggy's mitten trembles in a moment of uncertainty, which feels like a nice callback to that first memory, except here there's someone offering a hand. Connection over violence. It makes Huggy so vulnerable that I think it's impossible, going forward, to see him as purely scary again. But I have no complaints. Kissy has been used throughout the chapters as a sort of Huggy stand-in. Her purpose was not only to keep us thinking of Huggy, but to humanize Huggy through her. She is literally the key to his character arc, and without her, we'd be dead. By reconnecting with Kissy though, we see Huggy as both a monster and victim, and it redefines all of his previous actions towards us. Not through the lens of a murderous, unthinking toy, but through something traumatized and really burning himself out. When Kissy looks at his missing arm, it feels like an invitation to the player to remind us just how badly hurt his own anger caused him to become. And so his rampage is more tragic than anything, but only one person could have stopped it, and here she is. From the terrifying monster who took the world by storm in 2021, to this humanized character with depth in Chapter 5, Huggy has come a long way. He's gone from mindless killer to wounded creature lashing out in his trauma. Who could have known that Huggy Wuggy would be getting the best character arc so far? I'm really hopeful he and Kissy return in Chapter 6, but either way, Mob Games did a wonderful job with his journey in this latest installment. Did you enjoy Huggy's change, or do you prefer the more monstrous Huggy of Chapter 1? I never got the chance to play Chapter 1 blind, so Chapter 5 was the first experience for me of Huggy in game, and that probably made me enjoy it a lot more. Let me know your thoughts and like and subscribe if you want to see more videos on Poppy or other horror games. Thanks for watching, bye for now.